be a first-gen student?
To be a first-generation student, I feel like it's an honor. It's a little bit of a burden at the same time because we don't know what we're doing. But I definitely do believe that Texas A&M does offer a lot of different resources for first generation students, and there's things like the Money Education Center that you can also go to when it comes to like not knowing how to save your money for like things like classes and books and things like that. There's also the financial aid office that also helps me with like if I do need to take out loans, that's also an option, and I can work with them through that. Um, there's also like the first generation Aggies club that became a new thing, and I'm really thankful for that. I think that it is an honor overall though, because we are the ones that are making a difference, especially at Texas A&M. Knowing that there are a ton of first generation students here is really nice, and it feels like I am at home all the time because I know that there are a ton of other first generation students here, and I'm not the only one, and we're all going through the same thing, and we're all struggling, but we're all hoping, and our end goal is to graduate, and that's all we want. And it's really nice that we can relate to other people here on campus, and yeah, I guess that's all I can say. But yeah.
Okay, this one's a two-parter. I'll go ahead and tell you the whole thing. If you need me to repeat the second part, just let me know.
Okay.
Tell me about your happiest memory as an Aggie and your toughest moment as an Aggie. Take your time.
Okay. Let me think about happiest. Okay. My happiest moment as an Aggie was probably receiving a. Sorry, let me start over. My happiest moment as an Aggie was when I received the job as a peer recruiter on campus. So essentially, my job is to bring in prospective students and kind of let them know about what Texas A&M is all about. And we kind of give them tours, and we're able to do student panels, give them all the advice that they need about Texas A&M and like what it's like to go through the entire college process. I feel that specifically my favorite moment or my happiest moment was when we were able to attend a football game with all the prospective students. And, we're there to kind of show them what the spirit of Aggieland is really like. And I feel like at the football game we really get to embody that. So whenever like the war hymn comes on and things like that, and we actually chant to certain things and all the yells, I feel like in that moment when I get to be with my coworkers who are Aggies with me, but also be with prospective students who kind of like want to be Aggies with us, that's probably my happiest moment, because it's just kind of knowing that being an Aggie is such a great thing. It's family. It's family more than anything, and I feel like at that moment when I was at that football game, it really showed me that I do have a family here at Texas A&M. My toughest moment?
Toughest moment, yeah.
Okay. Bringing it real here. Okay. It's a lot. So my toughest moment as an Aggie was this past semester. I had a lot of academic issues going on, and I didn't end the semester like I wanted it to, and I ended up having to Q drop a class, and I ended up not passing a different class. And so that was probably one of my toughest moments, because as much as I tried, and it's not like I didn't try, I tried as hard as I could, I think I might have just stretched myself too thin. It was my first semester having a job, and it was my first semester taking 16 hours on top of just trying to work to pay my rent, and worrying about my classes. They were all like really hard classes. So when that happened, I was part of an engineering academy, and so the engineering academy dropped me, and they said, "Hey, so you can't do that. You can't Q drop 2 classes back to back semesters." And so they were like, "Yeah, you can't do that. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to, cut you out of the program." And that, at the moment, that was really, really hard for me, because it was like, well, what does that mean for me? Am I still going to be an Aggie? Am I still going to be an engineer? My number one goal is to be an Aggie engineer, and when that got pulled from me, I didn't know what to do. It was really, really hard for me. I think that as much as I could, I talked about it with my parents, and we kind of weighed out our options, and I was trying to come up with backup plans, but I just really couldn't. Ultimately, I did know that I wanted to stay at Texas A&M, even if it meant that I had to change my major, because I feel like Texas A&M has so much for me here. There's just so much for me here that I couldn't just leave. Thankfully, this past couple weeks, I have been able to work with an academic advisor, and she saw a lot of faith in me as far as being in engineering, and she said, I don't think that you should have been dropped. I think you should stay in engineering. She said, you're a solid student, and I don't see why you were dropped. I think that you should definitely stay. And that was the first time that anybody saw faith in me like that, and I almost cried just there because she gave me all that faith. But as far as words go, that means almost nothing. As much as she did support me, it wasn't solidified that I was going to be staying in the engineering program. And so she said, you know what, I'm gonna see what I can do. She directly worked with industrial engineering, and she called their department, and she was able to talk to their advisors, and she was able to pull some strings together. And industrial engineering also wanted me as a student, and so they saw they kind of had faith in me as well, and that was relieving. And they worked together, and in the end, it took about 2 weeks maybe in total. I was able to stay in industrial engineering, and so thankfully. But I think that was my toughest moment because, I think my identity was just kind of stripped from me, and I was just kind of well, who am I? I don't even know. But thankfully, I am still an Aggie, and I'm still wanting to graduate as an engineer, especially at Texas A&M. I'm just thankful for the opportunities that I have here, and I'm thankful for my advisor because she was, oh my gosh, wow. She came together, and she came for me. She was there to support me when I needed it the most, and I didn't expect any support, and I didn't expect it, but she was there for me, and I'm eternally grateful for that. So yeah.
Good advisor. Okay. What is your goal after graduation?
Okay. My goal after graduation, well, right now I have an internship with Halliburton, and so it's a multi-summer program, so I know that I will kind of be working towards a full-time job with them. So I think right now my goal is to work with Halliburton for a couple of years. I know that I believe that I'll have a leadership position once I graduate, and have been working with Halliburton for so long. So that's my goal for now, is to just work with them for a couple of years, gain experience. I have a lot of different career goals. One of them is possibly working for the FBI. I know that they do prefer applicants who have engineering degrees and engineering backgrounds, also with engineering experience. So that's an option, is that I would go into the FBI if I get accepted. If not, then I also have another, my biggest career goal is probably to own my own business, and my business would be, ultimately I want my business to be for engineers, for current engineers who are already graduated and have their diploma, and I kind of want a business where it brings in engineers and teaches them how to build their communication skills. Because like I said before, a lot of engineers, they just don't have any communication skills. A lot of engineers lack that when that's the most important thing. I feel like a lot of engineers don't know how to take the complex terms and bring them down to more simpler terms that is easy to understand for everybody. And so I want more of a program and a business to teach engineers how to do that, and how to have great presentation skills, and how to take their idea and kind of bring it to life, and especially share it to other people, kind of like know how to pitch yourself and your idea. That's my biggest career goal. I don't know how I'll get there, but I'll get there. So, yeah.
Cool. What does it mean to you to be an Aggie?
Okay. To me, being an Aggie means following all of our, gosh, I can't remember what are they called? What are they called? Yes, core values. Thank you. Okay. To me, being an Aggie means following all the core values. I definitely believe that it's something that everybody kind of follows here and embodies. So as far as like selfless service, that's probably the number one that I feel like everybody here does show and embody. Being an Aggie means that family comes first. And when I say family, I mean like your Aggie family and everybody around you. I definitely feel like there's a lot of respect, and everybody knows that if you need somebody, that they'll be there for you. And being an Aggie just means that the Aggie network is really real. It's real.
Yeah.
And you'll always have somebody there with you, because no matter where you are in the world, I'm sure there's an Aggie at least like 50 miles away from you somewhere, because there's just so many of us. And I definitely believe that being an Aggie means being in a family.
Awesome. Okay. So last question. What advice would you give a student who would be first generation is interested to coming here to A&M?
So my advice to a first generation student trying to come to Texas A&M is definitely to join a lot of different organizations first. If you can join the First Generation Aggies organization, that would be great. That'd probably be your first step. Put yourself out there as much as you can. It definitely goes a long way. I feel that if you keep to yourself a lot and don't really put yourself out there, it is easy to fall into that, and then you won't really feel like you belong at Texas A&M, because it is hard knowing that, if you don't have anybody around you, then it is hard to kind of go through college that way, when it's a lot better going through college when you have people around you and surrounding you at all times, and knowing that you have support. So, I feel like applying to a lot of different organizations is one, and you can meet people who have the similar interests as you. Also, going to class. Go to class. Going to class is super important, because it's really easy to just skip, and when you skip, you miss a lot of important information. So that's one. Going to your academic advisors. Please go to all of your academic advisors. Definitely they can help you whenever you're not sure of what your next step is or what you should do, or even if you want to change majors, because a lot of the times first generation students don't always know what they want to do, and that's perfectly fine, but you have academic advisors here who want to help you and want to help see you succeed. One other great thing we have here at Texas A&M is an academic success coach, and I know that that's something that I needed. They kind of guide you with different things as far as like study guides and study plans, and knowing what your next step is, and knowing how to succeed in your classes, especially your harder ones. What else? I don't know. Lastly, my last piece of advice is to try to really throw yourself into all of the traditions, even if it seems silly. I really think that, throwing yourself into all the traditions here at Texas A&M really makes you feel like you're at home, and when you can do it with other people, it just makes it just as much as fun, and that's how you create the family here that you have, when you guys can like do stupid things together, like traditions, and you can just have fun with your friends. I feel like that's like the number one thing you can do here, is just make friends and do the traditions together, go to class, go to all your academic advisors appointments, and definitely seek out an academic success coach if you need one.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Great.